Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It does that. I'm your host, Larry. This is Phoenix Fire, and this is James. Right? He never really gave me a nickname to go him by, so if he does come up with one, maybe you guys could help him. What should his nickname be? How about that? Just so it has a fun project.
It's just a screen name.
I refuse.
Oh, come on. A screen name.
Yeah, this hippie is a ginger. She has no soul. And she's touching me. She's touching me.
All mine ended up either being racist or I got forcefully changed on it.
Oh!
So I just don't do them anymore.
Don't do what?
Well, she wanted to shoot the shit about something, so I'm not sure what she wants to shoot the shit about. But coming up here on the pod, me, Squirrel, and a few others have talked about, we'll talk about Dark Side of the Ring. And actually, I think we'll start about the Dark Side of Comedy as well. Hope you guys stay tuned for that. But she just wanted to shoot the shit tonight, so whatever we shoot the shit about, it's about. She was talking about, she's a
caregiver.
She's a caregiver. She works with residents.
I work in memory care.
You want to tell us what you did before memory care, because you work in memory care, but you also worked in.
I worked in the assisted living before I worked in memory care, and the amount of stories I have.
You want to tell for somebody that's gonna become a future what you do?
A future caregiver.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I would say about being a caregiver is you have to have a very big heart and a very big capacity to help people, because it takes a lot of compassion and empathy to do what we do. It is not an easy job, especially when you are doing end-of-life care. It is not easy. It really is not. It is very emotionally taxing and physically taxing. So if you're gonna do caregiving, you have to have a lot of compassion, honestly. But getting back to the stories I could tell, I have this one resident he was a cop. He's in my memory care unit, okay?
Hi, Vexy. That's my friend Vexy. She's like a sister at this point. That's that's Vexy. Say hi.
I have this one resident who used to be a cop, and last week, I believe it was last week, not this past Friday, but the Friday before that, I was sitting there getting my stuff together, and it was 10 minutes before the end of my shift. And I had put this resident to bed just a few hours before, and I had just checked on him, and he was laying in bed. 10 minutes before my shift.
She said you're high as fuck.
I am. 10 minutes before my shift, he walks up to his bedroom doors, opens it, whips it out, pees on the carpet in front of his door, puts it back, closes his door, and puts himself back to bed. Like, okay. Okay.
Love it. Oh, well, he loves it.
Well, yeah, that's just, like I said, I have so many
You want to
stories
express
I
them?
could
This
tell.
is the place to do it. As long as you feel comfortable doing so, express it.
Like,
He's touching me. Continue. Oh, you're caressing me now.
but working in memory care there's never a dull moment. There's never a dull moment in memory care. Like, I have one resident. She turns 98 this month, on the 24th. She was a Girl Scout the majority of her life. That's one of her favorite things to talk about, is her Girl Scouts. And she got this one badge from a Girl Scout who won a trip to France.
Lots of patience, I'm sure.
Yes, it does take lots of patience. I currently have 23 residents with one more moving in, so I will have a total of 24 residents.
Now, before you continue on with that story, if you would like to let the people know, you had a patient pass away.
Yes, I did have a resident pass away. Not the first, but the Saturday before that. She was 92 years old. She was a wife of a veteran, and she was very loved in our community. A lot of residents are definitely going to miss her. A lot more staff, caregivers, med techs, dining staff are going to miss her as well. She had her family and everyone visiting her for the 2.5 days before she did.
Vexy said respectfully, she rest in peace.
Yes, thank you.
I can tell you from talking with Vexy as much as I don't talk to her on a daily basis, but I talk to her here and there, and
she's
was a good person. Like, she's grown close with my sister Mary that I would like to let you meet. Like, Vexy's a cool person.
My resident that passed away, she was a very devout Christian. She would go to church twice a week, and
you guys have church at your facility.
At my facility, yes.
Exactly.
And she loved to play bingo.
Bingo.
She loved to play bingo. It was one of her favorite things outside of going to church service and scripture reading. It was one of her favorite things. But back to the story. What was I saying?
You were talking about your...
Oh, yes. My resident who turns 98 this month.
Yes.
She was a Girl Scout most of her life, starting at the age of 10. She was a Girl Scout from the age of 10 to 18 when she became a Girl Scout leader. She became a Girl Scout leader at the age of 18. And by the age, I think about in her mid to late 20s, is when she started to train other Girl Scout leaders.
Much love to you too, Vexy. All love here. You know that. Peace, love, and chicken grease. I need to have you on for Dark City Cinema. I just wanted to say that.
And she was always very proud of her Girl Scout troop. One story that she loved to tell me is that one of her Girl Scouts went on to get married and have 2 boys of her own. And she called my resident one day and went, "Mrs. E, I have some news for you. I finally got a troop, but it's a troop of boys."
By the way, hello to Jamie and Braden, which are also watching. Shout out to them. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're like, it was a troop of boys. I'm like, oh my. She's like, well, it was bound to happen that she was going to get a troop of boys, seeing as how she had 2 boys of her own. And one other thing she loved to talk about was a Girl Scout trip that they made up to one of the camps. What camp was it? Can't remember the name of the camp, but it was snowing up there. And there was her troop of Girl Scouts and a troop of Boy Scouts up there as well. And her Girl Scouts had gone out and made a whole bunch of snowballs. Have a snowball fight after a dance that the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts were having. They were going to be having a dance. And during the dance, some of the Boy Scouts had snuck out and stolen all of their snowballs that they had made. So when the Girl Scouts went back out to have their snowball fight, all of their snowballs were gone. because the Boy Scouts had taken them. That was another one of the little stories she likes to tell. And she also loves to talk about her rock shops that she had. She loves rocks. She had this whole setup in her garage when she lived in Texas. She had a whole setup for polishing, cleaning, and cutting stones. And she'd make jewelry and stuff out of them. And she had this little dog that she had named Sniffer. His name was Sniffer because they lived in an old house, and his nose was always to the ground. He was also her rock hounding buddy. Whenever she needed a new rock to polish and cut, she would send her dog Sniffer out to find it for her. Oh, there was also a couple of kids in her neighborhood that liked to help her find rocks as well. They loved her. She was such a sweet lady, still is. Doesn't really get along with her sister very well, though.
Right there, sweet lady that doesn't get well with her sister, but much love to you too, Becky. You know I'm always there. Freaking Dark City Cinema, they want you. Cheers. And this is bourbon again. You understand what I'm talking about, the bourbon. Remember that one night? No, there was one night I was drunk on a live, and freaking she was like, "Oh yeah, is that the bourbon in the picture?" I'm like, "Probably could be." Yeah, Bexy's a cool person. I would love for you to meet her sometime. She was on my.
If it would let her join.
Well, the thing is, it would, like I said before, like Vexy just needed to give me a time because I need to have her back on Dark City Cinema. She's of Animal Kingdom and Sons of Anarchy.
Mm-hmm.
I am too. I would love to have her on to talk about it, but
I never.
you said you have 4 stories of your residents that you like to say.
Yeah, I have.
If your residents do have a Facebook, they're able to watch this.
Well, I don't have very many of my residents on Facebook. I have one of my residents. I have a former resident on Facebook. I say former because she moved from the facility that I work at to a different facility. But she's a very sweet lady. Only in her 70s. She lived at my facility for, I want to say about 7 or 8 months before she moved back to her other facility because of the offer they gave her. She is a registered minister, I guess. She's like a person you would go to ask to give last rites to someone who is passing. And she would also read a lot of our scripture readings on Wednesday mornings. But she was a very sweet lady. She was only in her 70s. She's still alive. I know that. I see her active on Facebook from time to time. But she's sweet. I've met her grandkids. I worked with a couple of her grandkids, actually. Yeah, I know. I love the bowls. No, that's a fresh bowl. That's a fresh bowl.
I guess I'll take it for you. How about that?
No.
Well, kill my lungs online, ladies and gentlemen.
Fine.
While she's distracted, I'll take the. Oh, fuck. Oh.
Fine.
How it is.
You can roast me
I'll
now.
see how I can roast her, but you won't let me take
The
it.
safety's on.
The safety's on.
Oh my god, you're gonna kill your lungs.
Look, guys, here's the thing. I've been told I can smoke without my lungs because my lungs are healed now. So you guys put a vote in the
I
comments.
call bullshit.
He calls bullshit, but that's besides her point. Keep her out of this. How about what you people decide? It's only 12:20. How about that? I'll take a bowl. We'll see what happens. It's been a while. Okay.
Jesus fuck.
Oh, you. What that's
No, I didn't. You did.
I kind of want to do it again. You see her, she's such a hippie. I call everybody and their grandmother a hippie. Oh. That was so good. She'll let me secondhand smoke it, but she'll never let me smoke it straight. I feel like it's a method.
It won't kill your lungs or bad. It won't kill your lungs or bad.
Okay, kill my lungs all alive and see if I die. How about that? You take that bull, I'll go be a bull. Oh? That bull attacked me. I can heal if I want. Abracadabra. What the fuck? You took it from me. How dare you? How dare you? You took the wand from me. I was gonna perform a magic trick that nobody's ever seen. Let's do it with this bottle. How about that? This bottle will be a magic trick. Alakazam. Oh. Bro, she literally blew me. She blew smoke at me, bro. This is new. Fuck. Ow, my head hurts. Okay, okay. This bottle gives me recovery.
She was quiet down.
There are kids sleeping. And you guys need to go into bed soon.
No, I'm good.
You hit me up at 12 in the morning.
Oh, hush. I'm fine right now. Oh, shit.
You are not bad.
She's more finer than me, and I'm still drinking because all this alcohol is mine. Still smoking. You'll smoke the weed. How about this? How about this? You smoke the weed the rest of the night. I'll drink the bottle. How about that?
I wasn't planning on having any more to drink.
Good girl. You drink your alcohol. So, she is a caregiver, as you could tell, but I hope you know. Oh my god, what the fuck do you want? Get the fuck off my ear. Apple, break your hands. Yeah, we'll do this right on live. Oh, I know what will get you. Is your, yeah, exactly. She has like be poking her side. Yeah, she got the side right there.
Oh, that was so cute.
I did not mean to hit your boob live because that would be illegal. I'm touching her side and she's panicking. But you know what, James? If you want to talk to James for a little bit, let's talk to James.
Oh, come on. You have more stories to tell than I do.
Stop it. If he just don't want to be on, he doesn't want to.
No, you don't understand.
Okay, James.
So, it's a possibility for me to slip up and break some sort of laws here.
James, here's the thing.
I'm not
Here's the
saying that.
thing. On my lives, you go to check, we've said some things surprisingly we've never been cut for. We've called out Mark Zuckerberg himself, the owner of Facebook. Have we been cut? No! So
Yeah, but
James,
it's also the fact that we have had to sign HIPAA thing.
Yeah, I've signed legal documents.
So have I.
okay, tell me this, James. Do you want to say anything to the people to give them advice, or is there something, if you don't mind me saying, if you don't want me to talk about it, you said you were in the military, right? You want to tell them maybe what it was like in the military. You feel comfortable with that? If not, I will direct it towards something else.
If they want to know,
Right here, speak your truth, brother. Right there, you have the floor.
I mean, well, I guess the question is, what do y'all want to know about the military?
So, if I had to give you a question about the military, can you tell us what you had to endure to even get in the military? I want you to tell us.
Well, for me, honestly, the military situation was quite different than most. For me, in order to get in the military, you have to take a test. Basically,
The ASVAB test. Right?
yeah, it's the equivalent of like ACTs and high school SATs. It's like that type of test.
And you have to get what kind of score to get into what kind of branch.
Honestly, I don't know. They just have scores, and I honestly didn't look too much into it. As far as I found out afterwards, I went into infantry, so a combat unit, and that requires the lowest score possible. Basically, the dumbest of the dumb are the ones getting the guns.
Okay. Well, what kind of stuff did you have to do? Because I know you were kind of a ground unit from what you told me.
Let's see. What was most of it like? Most of it was very much the line of digging. You did a lot of holes. I got very good at digging.
Yeah, very good at digging, huh?
Digging a lot of holes. Unfilling a lot of holes that got flooded. That was a fun part too.
Yeah.
But no, it was a lot of it ends up just being physical and mental, like stress. I mean, for me, it's from my case, which isn't everyone's. I was in a squad that had not enough people, and for me, I was a machine gun operator. So we had to carry around our machine guns, which was about 24 pounds, not including the ammo you put into it. So you're carrying around the machine gun. We had not enough people to carry all three.
Mm-hmm.
So we would start cross-loading ammo onto other people, along with like the extra barrels for it, which weighed heavier than the gun itself at that point. The only reason it sucked was, on average, you would say you're probably carrying like 60 to 70 pounds doing any sort of training or any sort of event. In my scenario, I was carrying upwards of 120 pounds every day.
And that's because you were considered more physically
Not at
fit.
all.
No?
Not at all. It was hazing.
It was hazing?
It was partially due to hazing, absolutely.
Okay.
But we just also didn't have enough people to do it.
Makes sense.
It was that was one of the few things I didn't realize until after I got out, that it was not normal to carry that much weight. But on top of that, I mean, it wasn't bad. I had great experiences overall.
Yeah?
Well,
What kind of good experiences did you have?
Well, for one, I remember at least from myself at Basic. At Basic, I learned a great experience there from two things. One, I've never seen so many grown men cry in my life. Everyone wanted to get out of the military after they first joined. And I remember this one guy. This one guy, at the end, he was telling the drill sergeant that he had a warrant out for his arrest.
Oh, God.
That was his plan to get out the military, saying that he got to go to jail.
He had to go to jail.
And then there's one other guy who, ironically, streams now and stuff like that. Cool dude, but I will absolutely say, I love him, but I hate that man at the same time.
Was,
he was one of those people that, like, to put in perspective, like, to look at this guy. This guy was a triathlon, so he would do, like, 10 events in a matter of, like, I think it was like 2 days, and do 10 different events between running, swimming, sprinting, biking, doing all that. Basically track and field on steroids.
yeah.
And so, like, he was that type of guy. Like, yeah, he had, like, full six-pack abs, very light, skinny, extremely toned. But the thing is, he was a retard.
Oh.
He was such a retard. Like, to the extent, like, we were in the bay. And I don't know, for no other reason than he was bored, he punched his locker as hard as he could. He broke his hand just because he was bored in that moment. At the same time, I kept getting paired with him, so I constantly got in trouble because he would run up to our drill sergeants at the time, and he would just say the dumbest things. He would go up and say, like, not even in his normal voice, like some weird, annoying voice, and ask the drill sergeant for, like, candy or just something stupid. And then at that point, because, of course, I'm with him, because I'm not allowed to leave his side, I would get in major trouble, too, for having him do that. It kind of sucked. All the way up until the end, I basically dealt with that. I remember that it wasn't until the very last, like, our last main training event before we fully graduated that my entire platoon decided to promote me up into one of the leaders. I remember the night before we were end up basically pulling security all night, but the schedule got messed up. But yeah, the schedule got messed up at that point. So I ended up basically sitting there all night awake, pulling security for 4 guys. So everyone else got 8 hours of sleep that night. I got about 2 hours of sleep in 2 different periods because no one wanted to wake up. I remember that all too well because that was the same night, the night before. I ended up going to sleep in my sleeping bag. But this was in Georgia in the middle of the summer, so it's hot, humid. We've been out in the woods for 2 weeks. Now, under this point, like, you gotta understand, all my clothes drenched in sweat and wet. Me, I'm exhausted, everything. It had been raining up to that point. That was the first night and day where it did not rain. So what did I do? I took off all of my clothes, stripped all the way down to my underwear because I was like, they can dry overnight. Finally. Finally, I can have something dry to wear in the morning. I took them off, and I remember I laid my sleeping bag down. I laid it right under a tree because I didn't really want to sit out right under the night sky. That was such a big mistake I made because I laid down, and it was the weirdest thing. I put my head down, I covered my head all the way over with the sleeping blanket, and then I was going to sleep. I sat there, and then out of nowhere, I just felt a little pinch on my leg. I was like, oh, that's weird. I ignored it. I felt the second pinch on my leg. I'm like, all right. It's like something's weird, but I was like, sure, whatever. Nothing too crazy. I felt the third pinch on my leg right after. I'm like, something's wrong. At that moment, I grabbed my headlamp, turned it on, and to my horror, I looked right down where my head was laying because I was using my arm as a pillow, and right underneath where my arm was, it was a swarm of bullet ants.
God.
So I laid right over the bullet ant nest with my head of the sleeping bag right at their entrance.
Oh, God.
I jumped out of that sleeping bag so fast, completely naked in my underwear, in the middle of the night. We were like at midnight at this point. And I just sit there, I'm like yelling, slapping like all these ants off of me in a complete panic. And then what really pissed me off, while I'm doing that, the guys in my machine gun squad, they turned around, they're like, Rooster, what the fuck are you doing? And they just started laughing. I was like, I have ants on me. They're now sitting there with their headlamps shining bright on me, where everyone can see me just standing there, jumping around, slapping my legs, getting all these ants off me in my underwear at night. And to make it so much worse, after I did that, I was like done. Before I could go lay down, it started raining.
Oh, God.
With my sleeping bag open. So now my entire sleeping bag was completely wet on the inside. My clothes were laying on the ground out there, completely wet. I'm in my underwear, soaked. And at that point, I gave up on life. I gave up on life and just ever being happy in that moment. Because after that, I just put on the wet clothes, put my sleeping bag back into my backpack at that point, and I just went over to another tree and I just lay down and went to sleep in the rain with nothing covering me. I was like completely defeated. And the thing is, I know, like, I was very pissed off. One of my guys came over to wake me up to pull security. And when he woke me up, I looked at him, I was just like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it, man. And normally people would be pissed if you don't get up for security, but they can't go to sleep. He looked at me and he was like, okay. And he just turned around and walked away. He didn't even try to argue with me. He just accepted the fact that I was like, I was just not getting up and I was done. Like that moment, I have never felt so low and just like, at that point, just lost all emotion. It was the first time that's ever happened to me, the only time. But I was like, I learned the lesson. Make sure I look where I'm laying down to sleep first, because yeah, I'll tell you, bullet ants biting you are not fun, and I'm very lucky they didn't bite anywhere that would have really hurt.
Oh, God.
Because, like, yeah, it was a bad time, but looking back, it was a great memory. Here you go. Oh, hey,
Welcome, Joshua, Becky, and Hunter Ellis. Diehard Hunter Ellis. We need to have you back on the pod here soon. You know I always have love for you, brother. You know you're always welcome. This hippie keeps touching my arm for some reason.
Oh, hi.
And now she's squeezing it. I don't understand why. Why is she doing this? But hey, who's judging, right? But you heard from him over there, James, man. He's been through some crazy shit in his life, and she deals with people all the time that we can consider crazy, but at the same time, they don't understand what they're doing.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, you want to explain to me what you explained to me yesterday when we were watching that show? Now, people with the Burrows, remember, people with dementia, you told me, don't really know what they're doing. Per se.
Oh, yeah. So I'm a caregiver.
Clearly.
I work in the memory care
Hip.
unit, specifically. And so I deal with people with dementia and Alzheimer's, and sometimes they also have stuff like Parkinson's disease. If you don't know what Parkinson's is a disease that affects the movement part of the brain, making the connection from your brain to the nerves in your arms and legs very slow. Okay. Sometimes non-existent. So, meaning people with Parkinson's disease sit there and they shake. They shake and they jerk. He's going to be right back. He's going down to his truck real quick.
Okay, you go check on him.
He's okay. He's going down to his truck real quick to grab something. But people with Parkinson's, they shake and they jerk. And sometimes the connection between their brain and the nerves in their hands and feet can be very slow. So sometimes they shuffle or they drag their feet. And a lot of people with dementia and Alzheimer's almost always have Parkinson's disease as well, making it very hard for them to walk and transfer. Transferring is from going from a bed or chair to a recliner or walker. Anyways, yes, so people with dementia do not experience time the same way we do. We experience time. No, it's almost over. It's almost over. Song's almost over.
So it's over. I don't see it. I promise. But I think that is.
No.
Please.
No.
I'm not going to take it. Please. You know you can trust me.
So no.
You're telling me now?
Almost over.
I'm not changing it right now. This is ready to take it.
Alright. But people.
Stuff, by the way. Don't you dare! I will fight you on the camera. I do not care. You too. Just don't. I love you. I love you. So. Oh, okay.
Anyways. So people with Alzheimer's do not experience time the same way we do. We experience time in a straight line, past, present, future, what is going on here and now. We know where we are, who we are, when it is, what time it is. People with dementia and Alzheimer's do not. A lot of people with early stage dementia and Alzheimer's, a lot of the time do realize that they are remembering things from the past that are actually happening now because they have a way of separating reality from their memory. Now, people with middle to late stage Alzheimer's are not really able Sorry, I have something in my eye.
Hi, I'm Liberty Free, and I'm here to tell everyone about Liberty News.
I haven't worn makeup in a while, so I have mascara or eyeshadow covering my
He's
eyes.
just a hippie.
Anyway,
You know that.
you wanna? I'll turn it down. Hold on. It's not that loud. You've had your music. Fine. Hold on. So, anyways, sorry, baby. Anyways,
He hates me secretly.
I love him. And anyways, so people with middle to late stage dementia and Alzheimer's do not experience time the same way we do in a straight line. Past, present, future, here and now, knowing where we are, when we are, what time it is, that kind of thing. People with middle to late stage Alzheimer's are not really able to separate their memory from reality. When something reminds them of their past, they go back to that time. Excuse me. And they go back to that time in their mind. And so visually, and sometimes auditorily, they go back to that time that they are reminded of by seeing, hearing, smelling, or tasting something familiar. They will go back to a certain time that they are reminded of. And because they are in middle to late stage Alzheimer's, they are not entirely able to separate their memory from reality, meaning that sometimes they will sit there and think it's a completely different time and will sit there and ask you, hey, how can I get home? I need to get home. Do you know where I am? Can you please help me? I'm lost. And it can be really heartbreaking because sometimes they will remember things like their parents still being alive. I have one resident, she continuously goes back to a time where her parents were still alive and her mother's mind, much like her own, was starting to go, and she needed to get home to help her mother because her daughter was going to throw a fit and just leave, and her father was going to be left there to take care of her mother, but her father wasn't much help, so she needed to get home to help her mother because her mother wasn't well. So it's really heartbreaking when stuff like that happens because that specific resident, her parents are no longer around. And she continuously thinks that her daughter is keeping her away from her parents and keeping her away from helping them. And so it's just really hard sometimes to redirect a resident when they're really adamant about certain things like that. But you know, that kind of thing can happen when it comes to middle to late stage dementia and Alzheimer's, which is what I deal with. I don't deal with any early stage dementia and Alzheimer's anymore. I did when I was on the assisted living side. I was on the assisted living side on day shift for a total of 19 months before I went to night shift. And then I was on night shift on the assisted living side for, I want to say, about 2 months before I went to 8-hour night shift on the memory care side. So when I was on the assisted living side, I did deal with a lot more independent and early stage dementia and Alzheimer's. But now that I'm on the memory care side, I deal with a lot more middle to late stage dementia and Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease as well. And like I said, it can be really heartbreaking when the residents are remembering a time when their parents or loved ones were still alive. I have one resident who is completely bedbound. She's from Ireland. Her husband passed away earlier this year. I don't remember exactly how long they had been married, but I believe it was something like about 40, 50 years, I want to say. They were married for about 40, 50 years. I was working on the assisted living side when he had a really bad fall coming out of the shower. That landed him in the hospital. And because of the way he fell and the impact of the fall, he was on hospice, which is pretty much end of life care. And he was moved over to the memory care unit. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because, like I said, the bedbound resident, her and him were married for about 40, 50 years before his fall. And that is the last thing he remembers, is his bad fall that landed him in the hospital. He does not remember that he passed away. And so sometimes she will ask about her husband. And we have been told to tell her that he is in the hospital, but he is doing okay and he will be home soon. Because of the fact that before his fall, he would come over every single day and take her out of the memory care facility and take her for a walk at the park across the street. And so it is very heartbreaking to deal with stuff like this, to deal with residents who are middle to late stage dementia and Alzheimer's, because of the fact that they don't experience time the same way we do. They really don't. And people think that it's hard on the person who has dementia or Alzheimer's, but it's really not, because of the fact that by that time they are so far gone that they don't even really remember who they are or where they are. So they're just kind of in their own world. Really, it's a lot harder on their family and loved ones than it is on the resident, because the resident doesn't even realize what's going on. The family, however, does, and it's really hard to deal with. It really is. That's why, as a caregiver, it takes a lot of compassion and empathy to do what we do. And there are some people out there who do this job just for the money, and that honestly is more heartbreaking than the kind of stuff the residents go through, in my opinion.
Oh, you're right there again. You can go check on him.
Yeah, I gotta go pee real quick.
He's a hippie. He had the hair from her. He's a hippie. Let's forget that. She's been through it. I'm very intoxicated right now. I apologize. I love y'all. I really do. And if you guys ever want to come on here, please don't feel afraid to. Come on in, shoot the shit. Talk about whatever you want to talk about. I get very buzzed, as you guys have been aware, and yeah, that's really the best I could say. You said what she had to say, and I said what I had to say. So I do hope you guys have a great night, great morning, good afternoon, great day, wherever y'all may be. Peace out.